blue sky day and our governor prioritized housing and homelessness on her first day, I'm feeling really optimistic.
We begin at 5 o'clock this evening with a feeling of hope, but also measured skepticism. It's all in response to new Oregon Governor Tina Kotek's first moves in office. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter.
And I'm David Mulco. Governor Kotek spent her first full day signing 3 executive orders aimed at the housing and homeless crisis. And while they are actions that have widely been welcomed, as Blair Best explains, many people say they won't celebrate until words turn into results.
The humanitarian crisis on our streets is front and center at the state capitol this week.
Executive Order number 2302 declares a state of emergency due to homelessness.
On her first full day in office Tuesday, Governor Tina Kotek signed 3 executive orders targeting the state's homelessness and housing crisis, including declaring a homelessness state of emergency.
It's a blue sky day and our governor prioritized housing and homelessness on her first day. I'm feeling really optimistic.
The state of emergency applies to parts of the state like Portland, where Kaya Sand runs Street Roots, a nonprofit working directly with homeless people.
These are areas across the state that really need this. I would say the part that I think that we all need to stay vigilant on is that housing and homelessness have to be connected.
The emergency order affects areas of Oregon where the homeless population has increased by 50% or more from 2017 to 2022. There are 5 major areas affected, including the Portland Metro and the Willamette Valley. Governor Kotek also set a statewide goal of building 36,000 new housing units per year. Sand believes in order for this to work, the housing needs to be affordable for those who make 30% or below the median income, like Velma Carter, who lives off of about $20 a day.
If she's going to build more housing, how am I going to afford it? I'm tired of being cold.
Carter has been homeless on and off for about 5 years. She currently lives in an RV with her cat.
How is she actually going to get me into affordable housing?
She can't find available shelter and has applied for 43 jobs this month, with no response.
I've been lost in the system.
In an effort to find people like Carter, Governor Kotek announced a 3rd executive order directed at state agencies to prioritize reducing sheltered and unsheltered homelessness across Oregon.
People are currently becoming homeless faster than we have been able to rehouse people who are living outside.
I think that's very, very courageous of her, and I think we need more attention on this issue. Because there's plenty of us out here.
It is extremely reassuring, and I think every Portlander should be grateful that we have a governor that's thinking about Portland and thinking about the
Andrew Hone at Portland's Business Alliance argues the response to homelessness in the Rose City sets an example for the rest of the state.
We are the flagship city. We are the beating heart of its economy. It is absolutely essential that we remedy the situation here because that will translate into obvious systems to be able to fix the issues in other locations.
He's cautiously optimistic for what will come of all this.
And I think all of us are a little bit skeptical about, will this translate into action?
This is nuts.
A skepticism echoed by those living on the streets.
You know, words are empty. It's all about the actions. So we'll see what happens.
Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler's office says the governor's executive orders are promising. The mayor says he now wants to learn more details as to how this state of emergency will affect Portland as they begin to ask for more homeless resources during this legislative session. Blair Best, KGW News.
We have new information tonight on a shooting in Portland that injured 2 people, including an 11-year-old girl. Police are searching for the shooter, who they've identified as 36-year-old Rashad Calvert. They also released an old mugshot and are asking anyone who spots Calvert to call 911. Authorities say he's about 5'7", 140 pounds, and frequently uses public transportation. Now, Calvert allegedly shot 2 people last night on East Burnside by 160th Avenue. Both of the victims, an adult man who police say drove himself to the hospital, and the 11-year-old are expected to survive.
Gun violence is one of the issues top of mind for Multnomah County's new sheriff. The homeless crisis is another. Mike Benner had a chance to speak with Nicole Morrissey O'Donnell today. Mike, the new sheriff is making history just by taking office.
Yeah, that's right, Laurel. Nicole Morrissey O'Donnell is the first woman to ever hold the office of sheriff in Multnomah County, and that's incredible when you consider the agency has been around for nearly 170 years. Morrissey O'Donnell understands the magnitude of this, but by no means is she wrapped up in it. She knows there is a lot of work to do. She said as much when we spoke this morning. Morrissey O'Donnell says one thing she wants to tackle right away is the homeless crisis that often involves mental illness and addiction. She thinks her deputies can work closely with mental illness and addiction experts to get people off the streets and into recovery. Morrissey O'Donnell is also concerned about the violence we're seeing, namely gun violence. Just last year, there were a record 96 homicides in Portland, many from gun violence. The sheriff says it's critical to build relationships with the Portland Police Bureau and Gresham PD, not to mention state and federal partners.
We have to work together to be able to intervene. We're also working with community groups and community organizations because we also recognize that we need those types of resources to break down those barriers and really talk with community, heal community, and then help us develop those community-led solutions to reducing gun violence.
As far as staffing goes, Morrissey O'Donnell says the sheriff's office is down only 2 deputies in the law enforcement division. That, of course, is good news, but she remains focused on recruitment and retention. She tells me she wants to hold more recruiting events that allow staffers to directly engage with people interested in the job, and she wants some of those job candidates to come from outside the immediate area, so she's looking at ways to recruit nationwide. David?
Mike Benner in the newsroom. Thank you, Mike. Well, his sandwich shop and pizza joint both have a loyal following, though tonight the community is rallying around the popular chef himself in addition to his fan favorites, and that is because Tommy Habets is now recovering from a major medical emergency. Tim Gordon has more.
They've become a big part of the Portland casual restaurant scene. The folks at Bunk Sandwiches have been creating some great eats for nearly 15 years now. And chef and co-owner Tommy Habets is one of the men who started it and made it so popular. Now Tommy is coming back from a dangerous and debilitating medical crisis.
Tommy, around 21 days ago, had an event. He had an internal brain hemorrhage, and he went down.
Friend and Bunk business partner Matt Brown says Tommy was home when it happened. His 15-year-old son called 911 when Tommy passed out. Doctors stopped the bleeding and slowly relieved pressure on the brain. Now the restaurateur is doing better.
Mike and I were in the kitchen setting up, and he was texting me his food order that he wants me to bring him after this interview from here. So, you know, he's up and about.
But there is a long way to go before Tommy Habets will be able to rejoin partners Brown and Nick Wood at Bunk Sandwiches on Southeast Water Avenue, or to run the show at his Pizza Jerk restaurant in the Cully neighborhood, a venture Habets started in 2015. Brown knows his friend will miss being a part of what they've created for now.
And for Tommy, this is simply a labor of love. It's just something he enjoys. He likes sharing with everyone.
Brown says Habets will be hospitalized for many more days. In the meantime, a GoFundMe took off to help the chef with huge medical bills beyond what insurance will cover, and to help his kids and ex-wife as they keep things going at home.
There's a lot of support going holistically for the whole group to make sure that everybody's well moving forward during this period where Tommy will most likely be in the hospital for another couple of months.
It may take a full year, but the hope is that Tommy Habets will make a full recovery and be able to visit his restaurants anytime he wants. In Southeast Portland, Tim Gordon, KGW News.
We wish Tommy a full recovery. Best wishes to his family, too. A problem that delayed and canceled flights across the country today has been resolved, and the backlog is being cleared up. A critical system the FAA uses to send safety information to flight crews went down overnight, resulting in U.S. flights being grounded until this morning. The system outage has been restored. Here's a look at the departure board at PDX this evening. There are a few delays, but for the most part, flights are back on time. Flight tracking website FlightAware shows more than 1,300 U.S. flights were canceled today.
Well, from runways to the roads, PBOT reopened a 2-mile stretch of Northwest Germantown Road this afternoon. It had been closed between Skyline Boulevard and Northwest Bridge Avenue. Crews were clearing rocks, soil, and other debris following recent heavy rains. And in Beaverton, the school district is changing how it powers its buses. It's now switched from petroleum-based diesel to renewable diesel. The new fuel is fossil-free and made from agricultural waste like vegetable oils and animal fats. The district says it also burns cleaner and has fewer emissions.